All right, everybody. So, something that a lot of people haven't really had a chance to see yet. Figured I'd do a video on the Outlier chassis that has recently become available, finally. I'd placed an order on one of these after purchasing an Arkin Optic back in, I believe, November. And it took a really long time to see it come to fruition, but finally got it. I got it here about a week or so ago, and right away dropped my Savage 10 FP barreled action. It's a factory Savage 223 action. It's an FP model, a little older one, probably from like 2014, something like that. And I wanted to get it into this chassis, so I did that right away, and then the next day took it out and started shooting it. So I got basically a full weekend of shooting in with this rifle in this chassis. Actually about 150 rounds almost. Shot it out to about 750 on Sunday last week, and was able to get a nice feel for it. And so far, I will say I like it. So just to kind of break it down a little bit, so we have an Outlier main chassis body, and then their 15.5-inch forend, and then this is an MK Machining vertical grip, and this is an MDT SRS light. I don't remember. I have the box somewhere. What is it? Hold on. It is an SCS light. Excuse me, I think I said it incorrectly. So an SCS light. Outlier offers a stock that you can purchase, but I didn't really. It had a very steep and kind of short-looking bag rider section in the back, and I wanted a little more area here. Plus, this has an M-lock slot, so it'd be very easy to add a bag rider. But I wanted the surface area, and so I went with an MDT buttstock. But I gotta say, so far, I like it for the money, especially. It's very affordable. I think if you go on the website, it depends a little bit on how you configure it, but it's quite affordable, and you do get a bit of a coupon if you purchase an Arkin Optic. But the aluminum machining is all very nice. All the edges are broken nicely, so there's really no roughness. You're probably gonna see some dirt. You know, like I said, I have already used this, but fit and finish is all really nice. The action fit in the receiver very nicely. The bolt spacing was correct for the action screws. They provide correct length action screws with the chassis, and they were perfect. They fit just fine. The forend, like I said, this is the 15.5-inch M-lock forend. It does have the correct dovetail for Arca Swiss. Perfect, works great, no problem. AICS magazine compatible. This is an MDT magazine. This is actually a 308 mag, but whatever, fits in there no problem. Ambidextrous release for the magazine, which I will touch base on that again in a moment. Accepts standard AR-15 style rear grips, so there's a million different grips. It does come with this grip here. I had no plans to use it. It's kind of a neat looking grip, and it does fit my hand okay, but not what I was looking to use. But it does come with that grip and the hardware necessary, and it accepts standard mil-spec buffer tube style rear stock. So you could take an AR-15 buffer stock, lock it in here, and use whatever kind of rear stock you want to that goes on a buffer tube. You have the ability of locking your buffer tube into the receiver using just a standard castle nut, but along with that, underneath the grip, there is a set screw that also locks in, so it's nice and solid, doesn't move around, had no issues at all. Everything went together really well. Forend is attached using 3 countersunk screws. There's one here, one on the other side, and then one on the bottom. It locks in very well. The machined fit is nice and tight. Definitely no issues there. It interfaces quite nicely. The barrel channel is significant. You have tons of room for a barrel. Back here, this barrel is a whisker over an inch, and it tapers down to about 850 thou down here. It's a standard Savage varmint profile. You can kind of see I have a bunch of weights inside the chassis here, inside the rail, just to balance the weight out a little bit. I shoot PRS and NRL and stuff like that, and having proper balance is really important, shooting off barricades and whatnot. So, take a look here. The fitment of the action, oh, come on, focus. There we go. The fitment of the action, the tailpiece back here, is really nice. It looks exactly like I would want it to. The fit is quite nice. No issues at all there. I had no issues with clearance for the bolt stop or for the fire control group. All of it just fit in perfectly. I didn't have to mess with anything. Recoil lug sat really nice against the machine's surface here in the front of the chassis. Just really nice. Everything fit and finish wise was really good. The finish on the stock in terms of the coating, I'm not exactly sure. It might be anodized. I'm not really sure, to be totally honest. Laser etched emblem, which is kind of large. That might bug some people, but whatever, I don't mind it. The finish, the black finish, is pretty nice. I will say there's a few spots. It's kind of like a satin finish, which is fine. But there was a few spots where the satin finish wasn't quite even, so you'd almost see a spot that looked a little duller, or spots that looked a little brighter. Not really something I'm concerned with at all. The trigger guard here has these deep relief cuts on both sides. Pivot this around here so you can see it. Deep relief cuts on both sides. Very smooth machining, no issues there. And it does allow for lots of room. Whoop, I'm blocking everything here. It does afford for lots of room, especially so if you're shooting with gloves or anything like that, you won't have any issues with space in your trigger guard. And it's really a comfortable fit. I have no issues with it at all. Shooting off of barricades and on a bag, I have a tendency to really plop the rifle down pretty hard, drop the forend down on a bag pretty aggressively when I'm building a position, and the forend held up really well. It didn't loosen up at all. It's fairly stiff. You've got tons of room for whatever you want to run. There is a row of M-lock slots on the bottom as well. But for the money, it's kind of hard to beat. Now, I will say there is one thing that I don't want to say I have a problem with, but I have some concerns about. And it's where I'm going to come back to this magazine release here. So this piece here is a polymer of some sort, I'm assuming. It's the same material that the provided vertical grip or pistol grip is made out of. It's that same material. And while it functioned totally fine while I was using it, and it seems to be relatively well made. Come on, let's focus here. Let's go. There we go. While it seems to be well made, I do have some concerns that there's maybe a possibility of one of these tabs breaking off or something along those lines. That could be completely unfounded. You know, I might run this for years and never have a problem with it. But it would be kind of cool to see this come with a billet aluminum magazine catch release assembly, or even if they offered it as an upgrade, I would gladly pay for a machined aluminum part to put in here. Because other than that, I can't find anything about this chassis that concerns me. I can't find anything that I don't like. With the exception of this, it's just a little concerning, because if this fails on me in a match, then there we go. You know, that's that. But I suppose as long as the magazine locks in place, I can figure out a way to get it out. But the barricade stop here in the front of the magwell is, in my opinion, very aggressive. It has a little forward angle. I really like that. It allows me to really drop my forend into a bag. Like I run a Weebad mini fortune cookie with heavy fill. I can drop this down in it, saw it back and forth a little bit to create a nice channel in the sand, and then really jam my magazine well into the bag and lean into the buttstock and create a lot of forward pressure and create a very stable shooting position. So I do really like that. I like that it doesn't have a big angled section that is going to want to walk up a bag. I like that it's aggressive like this. So all in all, I think Outlier did a good job. I think the price point is very hard to beat. I like the fact that it's, you know, relatively modular in the sense of you're not locked into some goofy stock configuration. There's lots of different stock options. You could go with a with like an AR style buttstock. You could go with an MDT. There's a few other options as well out there. You can pick one of a million different grips out there that you might want. They offer these chassis inletted for several different Savage configurations. They have long and short action. Remington 700 long and short, and I believe they also do one for the Savage Axis. Might want to double check on that, but I believe that's the case. So several options out there. There's not a huge amount of chassis options for Savages, so it's really cool to see this basically competition ready chassis out there for Savages. It is lightweight, so if you're looking to add a ton of weight, you're probably gonna have to add weights in your forend like I have, whether it be internal or external. And then you might want a stock where you can easily add weights on the rear, really balance everything out. But I have not put this rifle on a scale. I would say with the bipod, which is not currently on it, this rifle is probably about 15 pounds, maybe, something along those lines. Hard to be sure, but around that. And for anybody who is curious, this is an Arkin EP5, 5-25, sitting in a Wheeler one-piece 20 MOA base, mounted right to the receiver. And short action precision shell holder. But other than that, there's not a lot else to say. I will be shooting a competition in Pennsylvania with this rifle this upcoming weekend. Hopefully, if I get any footage. Sometimes it's hard when you're shooting a match to actually get any footage. But if I do, I will post it, and if people are interested, I'll do a follow-up video after shooting a match with this, and give some final thoughts after shooting a match with it. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to comment, and I'll try to get back to you guys about anything. And if you also got one of these chassis, excuse me, if you also got one of these chassis, go ahead and sound off in the comments section and let me know how you feel about it.